Welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome back to the living room. Love to bring in the new year with you. Thanks for tuning in. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in with us and being part of this very small new ministry online. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel absolutely free to comment, message us. We're really just in the development stages of catering the ministry so that it can really serve the best possible to all people, to people that want to grow, the people that want to overcome challenges in life with spiritual support, with spiritual help, with God's help. That's the goal for this ministry. We have a lot of exciting things coming up this year, new worship songs, and podcasts and interviews and other things in the works. So we just thank you for being with us, and there's plenty more to come. I wanted to start off this year with a series. You know, I guess the cliche would be New Year, New You. I think we've all heard that one. But I want to change it a little bit. You know, I'm a dad, so I'm allowed to get a little dad joke in every now and then. New year, new view. Or new view, new you. Okay? New view, new you. We got to have a new view of ourselves and a view of life, view of God, and view of ultimate reality to have a new you. And let me just put this in your hat to think about. The new you, if you're thinking about a new you, is an evolved you. We don't want to have people tell us, you know, it's not a very comfortable thing for somebody to say, you need to change. No one likes to hear that, especially maybe from their spouse or something like that. But I think we can all sort of generally accept that we want to grow. We want to evolve. So a new you is an evolved you. And I thought, let's talk about this new you and this new me. Let's go back to the roots. Let's talk about where we come from and who we really, really are. And so this message is going to start with that by talking about our divine origin. We were created by a divine, intelligent, loving being. And we're created by God. That's the word that I choose. A lot of people use other words, you know, universal, cosmic source, and higher power. And I go with God, you know, the Heavenly Father, the Heavenly Parent. God created us, mankind, in His image. And I think this is a commonly understood or commonly used phrase, but I want to really dive into it today. What does that mean? You know, the Bible indicates this a couple times, you know, many times actually, that, you know, in Romans, it says, His invisible attributes, His eternal power and divine nature are clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in all the things that He made. So you can kind of see what God is like by all the things He made. And of course, more famously in Genesis, says God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them, male and female, He created them. Something about the men and women dynamic reflects exactly what God is like. So we want to go into this. We want to find out where's our real origin? Where are we from? What is that? What is that blueprint? And a couple things that help me click some realizations in here. You know, God doesn't just create mankind, He also created nature. And nature is very beautiful. I think we all agree on that. But there's something different about human beings. And there's many philosophers and spiritual talks about this. But here's an analogy for you. It's a very down-to-earth analogy. You could say, I'm a creator, right? I've created some songs in my lifetime. And then actually, as I'm also not just a creator, I'm a father. So we call God the creator, but we also call God our father, right? Well, I'm a creator of songs sometimes, and I'm a father. With my wife, I created my daughter, Alexandra. And, you know, this principle holds true. You can see my personality in my songs. In fact, fellow musicians have told me that a couple of times. Like, they'll listen to I have a song that we're going to put on the living room at some point called Howla. And I've had musician friends of mine say, that song is so you, Joe. That just sounds like you. And this is a comment I've gotten a few times from my songs over the span of 10 years. It still just sounds like me. And that's true for most artists, I think. But as much as you can see a little bit of my personality in my songs, man, if you meet my daughter, you're gonna see a lot more. I cannot go out of the house without, Spanish grandmothers coming up to me saying, "She is your daughter." Oh my gosh. The spitting image. She tells jokes. She's got a little bit of this dimple cheek thing going on. She loves to be on stage, and it's really amazing. It's something to see. And I think those who might know me or know my daughter would probably be able to tell you. So what a difference, right? I've created songs, and you can see and feel a little bit of my essence in these songs. But man, you got to meet my daughter. That's a whole new level, an animate version. And that's a perfect analogy. Nature and the world around us, birds, trees, rivers, mountains, that's like the song that God wrote. But we are the children. And children can enjoy the song, right? They dance to the music. They sing along. But at some point, the children are growing up and they're writing their own songs. That's a whole new level. That's a whole new level. Something that grows and fulfills and then duplicates and goes beyond even what I can do. And I bet Alexandra might do that because she's already starting to do that. Just last week, she was singing something in the car seat. I was driving, and she was going, "Nay, nay, a boo boo, nay, nay, a boo boo, nay, nay, a boo boo." She was just changing all these notes and saying this. And part of me was thinking, hey, she's kind of writing a song. I mean, it's only got one lyric, but she's got a little bit of songwriter in her. And I told her that. I said, "Oh, that's cool, Alexandra. You got a little song going, And I'm driving and I go, "Nay, nay, boo, boo, nay, nay." And she says, "No, no, no, no. It's nay, nay, a boo, boo." She corrects me. I missed the little in the middle of the lyric. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, not only is she a songwriter, but she's a musical director already. And then I said, okay, let me try it again. Nay, nay, a boo, boo. And she goes, she just laughs at it. She goes, yeah, that's it. You got it, Daddy. So it's amazing. I mean, the 3D level of the spitting image of me, it's so different. And that's a good analogy for what we are going to be like more and more and more relating with God. That's how we relate with God. We're learning how He writes the song. We're learning His quality. We're learning what He cares about. And the more we become like those things and like Him, the more we become our true destiny, our true selves. This is a really important truth because we forget when we go around in the world, we kind of forget to see people as sons and daughters of God. That really escapes our mind so quickly, and I'm guilty of that. Absolutely. It's a very beautiful thought, Have you paused to think, wow, I'm betrothed, I'm married to a daughter of the Most High. That's a very interesting thing to pause on. What responsibility, what privilege, what honor. So, this clicked in for me. Where this value of the human being really clicked for me was a very kind of a somewhat humorous story, or just kind of a very banal story here, which I've told before, but I'd love to tell you now as we bring in this year. I was in Key West with my in-laws and my wife, and we were all lining up to watch a beautiful, famous sunset in Key West. You can see over the ocean, and it's a magical thing. People travel from long ways to see this sunset. And as the sun's coming down, that red, just like oven heat and like beautiful glow just comes over everybody, right? And I just felt in my soul like connected to all these people, random tourists with a sunscreen on their nose and a cheesy camera, and it's like Oh, this is so awesome. All this humanity lining up together to connect with the sunset. It's beautiful. People were like gasping and people were taking pictures and birds were flying by in a silhouette in front of the sun. It was amazing. And about a week later, I was walking my dog and I'm looking up and the sky starts to turn and it looks similar. I mean, it was a really amazing sunset right on my house. And I'm walking my dog and for some reason, never happened again, but my trail is littered with snails. There were snails everywhere. Like, I don't know why, it never happened again. Dozens and dozens of snails all in this random pattern on the ground. And this thought just flew into my mind. I'm thinking, where are you guys going? You're missing a beautiful sunset, everybody. They were all just crawling very slowly. It's like, look, you're not going anywhere, right? You're not in a hurry. Turn around and look at the sunset. And it just flew into my mind. Moral of the story here, snails do not line up to watch the sunset. Snails do not line up to watch the sunset. People do. So then you got to start thinking, wait a second, why is that sunset even there? Why is it there? The animals don't really seem to appreciate it. They don't stand to look around at it. The truth is that sunset is there for you and me. That sunset is there for human beings. That sunset is not just a splash of color. That sunset is to stir into your heart a feeling of overwhelming, of being loved by God. That's the truth. That's why the sunset is there. Have you ever thought about this? Why would God pour millions of years of preparing such a beautiful place to live if it wasn't to reflect that He will love us for millions of years, to love us eternally? That's reflected in the kind of effort and beauty around us every day in the world. So we got to really hone in on this on a daily level. This is why I really appreciate that at least, one of the great things about spiritual lifestyle is that it usually advocates for a daily refresher, a daily reminder. We got to get back in that mindset. Do we really feel God loves us like that all the time? I don't think we do. Me too, I'm guilty of this. If we did feel that kind of presence and powerful love all the time, we wouldn't feel the need to be people-pleasing. We wouldn't feel the need to be workaholics, to be valuable because we work so much. We wouldn't feel the need or the fear of trying to avoid failure. We'd be okay with failure because, well, we've got this amazing, powerful, loving parent always with us at all times. We wouldn't be so insecure about anything. Man, I think we'd have a very different world if God was closer to us on daily level, in a real way, in our soul, in our heart. So we come from God. That's the main piece I want to portray. And the more we feel it and become like God, the more God gets expressed in the world. Did you know this? Each person is unique. Each person is infinitely valuable. And that there is a piece of God that you express that no other person can express. When you become alive and more your true self and loving and compassionate and prosperous and everything and healthy and in every way, you're expressing a piece of God that cannot be expressed in any other way but by you. It's a huge and immense privilege. And actually, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of creative journey here on this life. People think that being cool or distinct means, just expressing yourself at all times or at the most possible. But what I found was the more I cleaned my heart or tried to, or the more I tried to clean the slate and just say, hey, God, what are you trying to do with my life? you know what happened? The more unique and individual I became. Before this God thing kind of entered my mind, I was wearing the zippers and I was doing the hair gel and I was in a rock band. Got it. But now, after saying, hey, God, what do you want to do here? What am I supposed to do? I have taken many interesting turns, and now I'm preaching the word and I'm studying the Bible and I'm writing different kinds of songs, and now I feel like I'm the weirdest person I know. If you ever feel like you're weird, I'm right there with you. I'm the weirdest person I know. So I'm trying to say that a more creative, unique, individual expression, it's not true that, the prayerful person or the lady that goes to the church and just raises a family is a boring... No, that's actually a false idea promoted by whatever, media or movies or something. A prayerful life is an exciting life. You become more your true self. You become more alive. You become more unique. Because you just never know how God's going to steer your life. That's a very unique path that only God can really bring out in your life. And I'm a testimony to that. I've become weirder and weirder and more unique as I go. Another thing here, though, is in the material way of thinking. Some people just matter more than others, right? Well, that guy's a trillionaire. Oh no, that guy's a billionaire and he has power and influence. And I'm not there, so I don't matter much. I don't sway much. I don't have much pull. Spiritually, though, the physics do not work like that. The main contest of our age is a spiritual battle. Will humanity revolutionize its soul and character and become moral again? Or not even again, but more moral than it's ever been, actually. That spiritual battle does not work in the same physics as the material world. The spirit, there's no millionaires. You don't have spirit money. You don't have spirit hierarchy like counting that person more than you. Your soul and your spirit is unique and infinitely as valuable as anybody else's and cannot be replaced. Think about that. That's really interesting. Which means that your spiritual battle / your spiritual effort, your spiritual growth is just as world-changing as anybody else growing. It's just as important as anybody else's spiritual growth. So that, I want you to never slide into the back seat of, well, I'm just one person, what much do I matter? You matter greatly. Because in spiritual physics, we are all titans. We are all powerhouses with incredible destiny of spiritual growth. Does that make a little bit of sense? Something to think about. The material world operates a little differently, but the spiritual physics is that we are all incredibly, vitally, crucially important. And so we should never just give ourselves this pass of like, well, I guess I don't have to do much. So your divine inheritance and origin means two things. It points to two things. Just very quickly here. That there's grace always available to you. You come from the heavenly, loving God. And that means the door is always, always open for you to just communicate directly to God. Ask God for help. Ask God for healing. That is always available to you because you are in the family. You come from a divine loving parent. The second thing it means, not just the grace, the second thing our divine origin means is we got to do better. We got to do better. We have so much ahead of us to grow into. That there's a human free will portion of responsibility that we've got to do. So it's not just you got to do better, and it's not just, hey, there's grace for all, it's fast food salvation, just drive on through and you're good, okay? It's both. You are in the family, you can step into that royal grace that God always offers, but we've also got a lot of growing to do. An image that came to my mind on this is, imagine the visual of an apple seed in the ground. That apple seed has the blueprint of the entire tree hiding inside the seed. That apple seed is an apple, right? Like waiting to happen. It comes from an apple. It's going to grow into an apple. But for a little while, it looks like a seed just stuck in the mud. So that's a perfect analogy. And it actually goes a little further. What does that seed have to do? That seed's got to soak up the nutrients from the dirt, from the soil, and start growing. And I was laughing as I was writing this. I was thinking, that's a perfect analogy for life. Sometimes we got to learn the lessons from the mud, right? We've got to learn the lessons from the challenges we're stuck in. We learn from it, we soak up the nutrients, and we start growing, and we eventually poke through the mud. We poke through that dirt, we start growing and growing and growing. Finally, the full realization of our destiny is seen when we've grown a lot and we start producing, and then it's like, oh, well, that apple tree looks exactly like the last apple tree. So don't ever mistake that if your life feels like it's a little stuck in the mud, that it doesn't mean you're not meant to be something great. You are that seed with all the blueprint of God's divine love right inside of you. Just needs to be, we need to put water on it. We need to get the lessons from the life, from the soil that we've been planted in, and we need to shine that love of God's light right on us every single day. That's just a great analogy for where we're at as humankind. Because, people say we're made in God's image, but you look around the world and you think, we don't look so great, right? So it's actually because we have some developing to do. So I hope that this brings in the message for you a little bit more about, you are a divine son and daughter of God. You are precious. Don't ever forget it. And when you look around the world, don't ever forget that that's how all people are. And we're going to continue this topic a little more. There's much more to say. We'll continue more when we come back on next Sunday. So please join us. Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us. God bless.